heat reduction of a house.
Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nur Amira binti Jafar. So I will present our presentation with abstract. This research conducted is related to the heat reduction of a house. It is because nowadays we are facing with dry and hot weather in Malaysia. So the high temperature outside will create heat home ambient that will cause the residents to feel discomfort. It is because most of Malaysian spend their time indoor. So here we are suggesting a few improvements that will decrease the interior temperature and heat load, and also increase the thermal performance. As we all know, the weather in Malaysia is hot and humid throughout the year, with average temperature of 21 to 32 degrees Celsius. While in Kuala Terengganu, the location of the house that we have chosen has 31 degrees Celsius in average. According to the first law of thermodynamics, which states that the energy cannot be destroyed or created, but it can be transmitted from one form to another form. So in this problem, the heat is transmitted by radiation. Besides, the high temperature outside will cause the heat inside to increase in order to reach the thermal equilibrium. So the properties of the house, it has width of 2,880 square feet, 11 feet of distance from ceiling to the ground, and 7 feet from roof to the ceiling. Besides, it is a south-facing house which will receive more sunlight and increase the heat trap. Thus, it can causing high in energy consumption because the residents will use high energy consumption electrical equipment such as air conditioning.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amalia Sufia binti Sulaiman. So in this video, I will be explaining on the literature review. Roof sprinklers. According to the Benjamin 1985, the US managed to develop the first successful application of roof sprinklers in 1934 during the summer. The American Society of Heating, Refrigerating and Air Conditioning Engineers managed in getting founded after the roof sprinkler system getting the interest it deserved in 1940, as the system helped the house or building in adding a little moisture to the enclosed space so that the house getting the cooling effect. Next, window fan. An experimental study has been carried out by senior research scientists at the Florida Solar Energy Center showed that prior to the usage of the fan, the temperatures in the kitchen and living room were often higher than the ambient air temperature, especially during the warmest time of the day. The use of the fan brought the overnight temperatures considerably closer to the ambient level. Sunshades. According to the studies conducted by the US Department of Energy in 1994, sunshade can block direct sunlight, manage the amount of sunlight entering your home, and avoid heat gain. This is due to the fact that around 40% of the unwanted heat that accumulates in our home enters via the window. Next, roof ventilation. A turbine ventilator is one of the active roof vents. Some research found that turbine ventilators had been widely accepted nowadays in industrial ventilation. In 2003, Lai conducted a study on ventilator size. 3 ventilator sizes were measured at different diameters with a speed of the wind between 10 and 30 meters per second. He found that the larger diameter of the ventilator contributes to a higher ventilation rate. Solar reflective paint. Paints were discovered to be thermal insulation material, which is greatly important because they offer benefits in terms of thermal performance when applied to building components such as roofs and walls, and the most effective type of paint is reflective paint. According to the recent BBC interview, the application of the reflective paint on the rib and corrugated roof might be able to decrease ceiling temperature up to 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. What's more, the interior temperature also had reduced in the range of 2.8 to 4 degrees Celsius. Shaded trees. Research has found that the shade of a single tree can provide welcome relief from the hot summer sun. According to a study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, trees play a big role in keeping our towns and cities cool. The study found that the right amount of tree cover can reduce summer daytime temperatures by up to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. The last one is ceiling. There is research that supports the suggestion to add ceilings to the house, which will assist in cooling the house in summer. In a contemporary home, the fake or plaster ceiling can be completely removed, revealing the cables and pipes above. This quickly raises the ceiling, allowing warm air to ascend to the ceiling and away from the occupants.
Hello, my name is Nafazah Hanimiti and today I would like to present the methodology part. The first method is roof sprinkler. It uses the technique of evaporative cooling, where the inside part of the house will be indirectly cooled by spraying the exterior part with water. The water is distributed around the place by pumping the water through the pipe system. When the valve is open, the water from the hose will move to the inlet pipe of sprinkler. Then, water will be pumped up from the sprinkler heads to the roof of the house. Materials that can be used is PVC pipe. The PVC pipe will be drilled into several holes, plus it will be connected to a long hose and a brass valve. Finally, the valve will be connected to the source of water. The second method is the roof ventilator. Turbine ventilator can be used as a roof ventilator. To install the ventilator, we must install the sealant to the skeleton gun. Then, we need to identify the selected vent position and remove about one piece of the tiles to insert the ventilation base. Then, lift up the top three pieces of the tiles, slide the base underneath them, and try to get as centered as possible over the hole. Adjust the tiles using a rubber mallet. Next step is to place the very pitched rod on top of the base and screw it. Lastly, place the turbine on it and secure it with screw. Third is the window fan. We need to consider the fan direction, position, placement to avoid, fan size, and fan operating duration. This method requires a balance of fans pushing air out and fans drawing air in for it to operate. Two fans are needed in this method. One with blades that pull air into the house and one with blades that push air out. The best way to use this method is to face them away from the prevailing wind and expel hot air from the house. The fourth method is solar reflective paint. First, apply a reflective coating to the existing roof or apply some type of cool colors to the roof. Then, a primer is needed to apply as an undercoat before proceeding with the reflective paint. However, before applying the paint, we need to make sure the roof is clear from dirt. Lastly, the paint can be applied with three methods, which are paint roller, brush, or spray. Is to apply sunshade. Sunshade can reduce the quantity of solar radiation entering the house by keeping window covered on hot days. Cellular shades is an example of sunshade. This shade can be placed on windows facing the sun. We also can choose bright colors for the shade such as white or cream. The sixth method is to plant the shady trees. Trees provide shades and covers the house from direct sunlight. We can plant several types of trees around the house. The trees also can be made as tree canopy by planting the trees side by side. Last but not least, the seventh method is the shielding. Shielding could help by regulating the air inside the house. We can replace the shielding with thermal insulation material such as PVC, asbestos, and binderless cotton stock fiberboard. These materials can be applied to the roof part of the house.
Result and analysis. Experimental house sample located at Kuala Terengganu. The highest temperature there in 2021 May until October was 32 to 33 degrees Celsius. High temperature of surrounding will cause temperature inside the house to increase to reach thermal equilibrium. Warm air to spread and trap inside the house will lead to discomfort to the people who are living inside. Therefore, we have provided 7 solutions to solve this problem. The first one is roof sprinkler. It can reduce the rate of exposure of the roof from the sun. The water from the roof sprinkler can give a cooling effect to the house by pumping the water through a pipe straight onto the top of the house roof. Next is roof ventilation that allow heat to escape outside our house. It helps to allow the cool air to enter the attic space, thus we remove the hot air. The third one is fans, or to be specific is window fan. It can balance air pushing out and air coming in. Air temperature can be controlled by balance with the flow of the air coming in and out through the 2 window fan. Sun reflective paint will reflect the heat that is transmitted to the roof and the wall surface. Sunshade can help by minimize the quantity of solar radiation entering your home and keep it cool by blocking off sun ray. Furthermore, if shady trees planted together in a continuous patch, they can cool the temperature by 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. Green roof may reduce daily energy use up to 75%. Suitable material of ceiling that can be function as insulator that may be used in the building to prevent heat gain. Therefore, the problem can be solved. Warm air trapped inside the house can be reduced by roof ventilation, ceiling, and window fan. Heat, if sun rays be radiated directly to the house, can be blocked or reduced by shady tree, roof sprinkler, and sunshade. Heat absorbed into the house can be reflected by the sun reflective paint. Overall findings show that temperature decreased by 3 to 4 degrees Celsius, and the final value of temperature in interior space is 27 to 28 degrees Celsius.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Shakira Zakia binti Ahmad and I will present about the discussions and conclusions for this project. So we go to the first one, which is roof sprinkler. It uses the principle of evaporative cooling, which is the cooling process, and the water will absorb the heat during the evaporation process and give the cooling effect to the roof. And the heat can be transferred when two objects with different temperature are in contact, which is the roof and the water will be in contact and the heat will be transferred. The advantages is inexpensive, easy to install, extend roof material life expectancy as it does not undergo the drying process and save electricity because it is manual. And disadvantages is increase in water bills as it uses a lot of water and the water sprinkler cannot work if it low intensity of water and pressure. And for the corrosion process, it will happen as it will increase in humidity at the house. And for the recommendation, I recommend to use an irrigation pump as to increase the pressure of water and the density of water. For the roof ventilation, it related to the flow of air through the system exhaust and intake, and it can remove the heat and warm air that accumulate through the attics, the roof decking and also ceilings because of the high temperature outside. And for the pros, it not leak during the rain and snow, and it lightweight, energy saving, long warranty, and it save money as it does not use electricity, and it extend the roof life as it does not undergo the drying process. And for the cons and limitations, the moving part will break once ages. The wind is the limitations for the roof ventilation as it rely heavily on the wind. And for the recommendation, we recommend to use a ventilator that does not use electricity to save our money. So we have window fans, which is also called as mechanical ventilation. The ideal window fans is dual reversible fans, which is one of the fan will remove the heated air outside, and the other one will cool the air from the outside and direct back to the room. And the type of window fan is twin window fan with 9-inch blades and 3 speed settings. For the advantages and limitations, it saves money and effort, easy to install, and it need numerous units to cool the house. For the recommendation, we recommend to open the window on the side after the sun goes down and install the window fans and close the sash and adjust to the high speed of the window fans and avoid inward blowing near the garbage cans or near the parking lots to avoid the odor and gases. So we have solar reflective paint, which is due to the pigment in the cool paint that can exhibit the dark color in the visible spectrum and high reflecting in the near infrared region. So the temperature will be dropped as the radiant is reflected. And the pros for this solar reflective paint is it can protect the color from UV radiation, so it will be long lasting, and good quality of paint can reduce heat and also reasonable in price because it's involved hundreds only. And for the limitation, for the people who have tight budget, is higher in cost as the rough estimations for all the materials that needs to buy is involve thousands. There is also sunshade, which is it can limit the additions of heat from the sun. There are type of sunshade which is cellular shade. It is easy to install, reduce the energy cost used, adjustable, and also it can absorb and reflect the white light dispersed. But it also has a lot of dust stick to the sunshades, and it is difficult to wash. It is difficult to wash because it's made of fabric, and also difficult to clean out of the center of each cell. For the recommendation, place the cellular shade on the part where it most exposed to the sunlight to avoid the heat. Next, we go to the shady trees, which is it can increase the thermal comfort by reducing the air and surface temperature, so it will cool the house. And for the advantages, it can be used as decorations and affordable and accessible climate solutions. And also, it has many types, which is leaf type, evergreen trees type, and deciduous trees type. And for the recommendation, we recommend to use the rectangular planting pattern, even though there are also triangular planting pattern. The last one is ceiling, which is it has 3 types, which is polyvinyl chloride, asbestos, and spindleless cotton stock fiberboard PCSF. Polyvinyl chloride, it has high density, which is very strong, inexpensive, high durability, lightweight, and also high chlorine level. This high chlorine level will give the characteristic of fire resistance to the polyvinyl chloride, but it also has weak thermal stability, and also when melted, it will release the hazardous gases. And for the asbestos, it has excellent thermal insulation and strong fire resistant, strong material, and also cheap. But it is harmful and it will give us the diseases. The last one is windowless cotton stock fiberboard BCSF, which has no chemical addition, which is very good, and low thermal insulation, which is low thermal insulation will give the will not let the heat to pass through the ceiling very easily. And the most suitable material for ceiling is windowless cotton stock fiberboard because it has no chemical and it good for one's health.